I don't know if this is what the anti-choice forced birthers intended, but U.S. single people under 50 hunching less since Roe overturned. That's what a study found. More than 1 in 10 single people under 50 say that they're hunching less since the Supreme Court overturned Roe, according to a new survey. On Wednesday, Match Group, which operates Tinder, Hinge, and a slew of other matchmaking platforms, released its latest findings from its long-running Singles in America survey, a snapshot of more than 5,000 single Americans' thoughts and experiences around dating and hunching. For the second year in a row, Match has found that the demolition of national right to abortion is affecting how Americans say they date and hunch one another. Since Roe fell, more than 20 states have significantly restricted women's rights to choose. 13% of singles under 50 said that they are now more afraid of getting pregnant or getting someone else pregnant, including 21% of Gen Z singles between 18 and 26. 12% of singles under 50 also said that Roe's demise has made them more hesitant to date, while 11% say that they are more likely to hunch in ways that lower the risk of pregnancy, such as non penetrative humping. It has become a litmus test for people that it's too much trouble to date. One survey respondent of Roe, another added, I'm bisexual, so it makes me think I should strictly date women. 1 in 10 say that when they do hunch, they are more nervous or anxious. Y'all remember that article that came out last year that was saying that there were so many more single men than women, and people are like, well, how are there more single men than women? What are the women doing? The women are dating each other. Women are opting out of dating men, they're dating each other. That's what it seems like to me. Not only is it impacting behavior, it's also impacting the meaning and the quality of the experience that people are having. It's really remarkable that legislation is making people feel more nervous or worried or less comfortable with their sexual lives, said Justin Garcia, the executive director of the Kinsey Institute and scientific advisor to Match Group. This kind of anxiety, Garcia says, threatens people's ability to form partnerships. You're not going to connect that well if you're feeling anxious the whole time. These statistics provide a rare peek into the link between reproductive access and people's hunching lives, as there is relatively little research into the connection. Although Singles in America survey is not longitudinal, new people are surveyed with every iteration. Worries about the end of federal reproductive rights protections seems to be on the rise. Last year, 78% of survey singles say that the Roe's fall had affected their hunching and dating lives. This year, the number jumped to 87%. Republicans are often vocal about their support for particular kinds of hunching, specifically heterosexual, married, and procreative, and have pushed policies to discourage hunching among single people, including slashing access to abortion, particular types of birth control, and comprehensive sex ed in schools. The Match survey suggests their efforts might be succeeding. So, if your peen is dry, you might want to thank the Republicans. But also, the Republicans act like we're all about freedoms. It's the freedoms that that they like. They don't want people to actually have freedoms because there are certain freedoms that they need to regulate, that they feel that they are best to, put policies for or against. Gotta love these Christo fascists. At the National Pro-Life Summit held over the weekend, Kevin Roberts, the head of leading conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, urged attendees to build a culture of life through the heroic spiritual adventure of falling in love, getting married, and yes, having lots of kids. The room erupted in applause. But Roe's demise has contributed to more use of birth control, the Singles in America survey found. 13% of singles under 50 said that they now use condoms more often. Meanwhile, 7% of women say they got the UDI, and 5% of men said that they got a vasectomy in response to the ruling. The survey arrives at a time when smomortion is increasingly on the ballot. Vice President Kamala Harris this week kicked off a tour to spotlight how a Republican administration may further devastate women's rights, as Democrats believe the outrage over Roe may win them votes in the 2024 election. 70% of singles said that a candidate's view on smomortion will have some impact on their vote. 70%. Nearly a quarter said that smomortion legislation will completely determine their vote, including 30% of Democrats and 20% of Republicans and Libertarians. Women were more likely to say that smomortion would determine their vote. 26% of women said so, compared to 18% of men. I'm furious and will only vote for Democrats for any elected office, one respondent said. Ultimately, many singles may not vote at all. 14% say that they don't plan to vote in the upcoming election, including 20% of Gen Z singles, according to the survey. There are more than 100 million single people in the United States. They're an enormous and overlooked demographic, Garcia said. Relationship status can impact people's views and their commitments to certain issues. It's a group that someone can scoop up. Those aren't negligible numbers in a tight election. That's a very large group of singles that don't feel engaged. What an opportunity for politicians to think about relationship status and singlehood and to engage those people. How are you going to engage these people? How would they remotely engage these people? They want to rule people. That's what they do. They don't believe in freedoms for people. Anyways, so people's dating prospects are changing. People's hunching lives are changing. And we already have talked about, it was talked about extensively, the crisis of lonely men. And that is something that is still very much so in the spotlight. So now this PBS documentary, or, that small clip has been circulating. So I am going to attach it here. And if just a clip of it though. And if you listen, the man who started this meetup for men was pushed into it by his wife. And so if a lot of these people are not connecting, if they're not getting married to women, women are the ones that typically are the glue that help men keep their friendships together, that help keep them connected to their family. So as more of these relationships deteriorate, these dudes are continuing to fail and flail. A lot of this is interconnected, but people are not looking at this on a bigger scale. They're looking at one single issue at a time. These Christo fascists in the long term are going to keep these men angry. Anyways, watch this clip and let me know what you think of all of this on a big scale, what you think about it. Like, comment.
Men are stuck in what's been dubbed a friendship recession, with 20% of single men now saying they don't have any close friends. And more than half of all men report feeling unsatisfied with the size of their friend groups. I recently traveled to Phoenix to take a closer look at the implications of male loneliness and how some men are confronting it.
A great way to start off 2024, just another meetup.
On a recent night in Phoenix, a group of men gathered on a rooftop bar to talk about their goals for the new year.
I'm training for a half marathon, my first one ever.
Spend more time with family. I have my grandparents, like my grandfather, and he'll be 91 this year.
Wow.
Make moments like this where I can sit and talk and look for mentorship and even offer it.
This friends group was started by 38-year-old Quincy Winston. After leaving the military in 2015, Winston moved to Arizona with his wife LaToya and started working as an IT specialist. But for years, he says he struggled to make friends here. Were you feeling lonely and disconnected?
Definitely, especially when it came to having male friends. I didn't have any, and that lack of connection put me in a place where I didn't know exactly what to do about it.
So, in March of 2022, Winston turned to the social media platform Meetup and decided to invite other men to a local restaurant.
I think we went to a restaurant called Papado's, and I didn't know who would show up or if anybody would show up.
Sounds nerve-wracking.
And it was awkward, but once the guys came in And hearing some of their explanations and what they were looking for, I found out we had a lot more in common than I thought.
7 men showed up for that first event,
Are you guys warm?
which Winston says only happened because of his wife.
You encouraged him to form this group.
Yeah, I wanted him to have a social life, like outside of just us doing things together all the time, which was great, but I still felt like he needed to have guy time and guy friends.
Yeah, she made it very evident that I need to go make some friends.
Go disappear for a
Go
little
disappear. Now you have some friends. Yes, come back, but go. Yeah, chicken needs a little bit more time. I'm just grabbing the hot dogs right now.
bit. The men still meet up about once a week for activities like this backyard barbecue. Winston's meetup group now has nearly 130 members.
It speaks to the need for connection that your group is that big. I mean, is that how you see it?
Yeah, it does. And, with all the technology that we have to keep us more connected to where we can communicate instantly with anyone, anywhere. But if you notice, we don't talk as much. We text more. A lot gets lost in translation because we just don't have that physical connection.
I'm the newest member of the group, but I'm also one of the oldest members of the group.
Connection is what 61-year-old Robert Montgomery was looking for.
What motivated you to join this group?
My whole thing was I said I needed friends. Because I didn't have any. I got tired of being, basically isolated at home all the time, and I spent my birthday at home by myself. And I didn't like that. I was like, okay, no, I can't do this anymore.
Montgomery is certainly not alone. Only 21% of men in the U.S. say they get emotional support from friends every week. That's compared to 41% of women.
Sometimes as men, we struggle to say, I need you.
Richard Reeves is the author of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It.
What is driving male loneliness? Why do men have such a hard time forming friendships and keeping them as they progress through life?
You can't neglect a friendship and expect it to just grow. You have to work at it. You have to find the time. And my observation is that many women are just better at doing that and building it into their lives.
So it's lack of purpose.
Reeves also says over the last 4 decades, there's been a steady deterioration of male friendships.
For men under the age of 30, 15% say they don't have a close friend. And that's up from 3% in 1990. So we have a really difficult challenge now of helping men to find places, spaces, and ways to be with other men and to sustain those male friendships.
Last year,